additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, hearing none. We'll call the question. Legal governance, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. Item number 5 is County Treasurer Jeff Lattis in regards to resolution of the Finance and Human Resources Committee authorizing the sale and transfer of general property at 1236th Street. Welcome, Jeff. Previously.
Turn the switch on for it.
Sorry. Previously, before the committee, I presented about the CDA's and development authority for all on consideration and requested that parcels be split at all 29th Street presented as good sale and see the CDA and all 36th Street. 29th Street would be for still good sale and there was some in the fall. CDA, they had with 36th Street, they submitted an offer for the property. The offer this will be the home that one was not
Chairman, I will move to send this to the county clerk for first reading June 3rd.
I have a motion seconded to hold this county board for June 23rd. Any other discussion? Supervisor report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to ask the treasurer a question. If you know, signals like this were on board, if these were what we did as far as getting it from another government, which is by a school board, the municipality.
I've done previously done it.
Okay, and what is the reason for that? Why do we have a situation where we don't have sealed bids?
So, my understanding in the funding, the additional consideration of this particular that there was some stuff in this moving on to the municipalities, very citizens, speaking going on that states over the course of the last 5 years, and only leader that cooperation cooperative effort facilitated one well. The previous one went
Same statement. Question. You was there. But in my 30 years or so, I've never, ever ran across where on the board, one of us sends off for bids. The treasurer's office decided to give this to municipality. Never ever was always never ever has this ever came up that board of supervisors get situation. But since the city has there's a big goal this other route, we would go okay.
Any other questions? Comments? Supervisor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to commend the treasurer for expediting this. I think some of us were concerned that it might take a while, but you brought it back to us rather quickly and thank our partners in the city because to Supervisor Shakur's question, I do remember some time ago that the committee rejected a request from the municipality. It was a somewhat controversial zoning matter. So or that helps. There was, I do remember that. Can't remember which municipality though. All right, there's all further discussion for questions. We'll call the question on this. Moving forward to County Board of June 23rd. Youth and Governance, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Committee, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carried. Thank you, John. All right, item number 6 is in the transfers department. We have Communications Department, Jacob Ratz, wanting to authorize the acceptance of Wisconsin Department of Military Affairs Office of Emergency Communications Command in the amount of $175,000.
I am Jackie Rex, and I have with me the assistant director, Auditorium, who replaces Tony Howell, if you remember Tony Howell, the assistant director role.
We can hear you, but because we're broadcasting, you gotta get real close to the mic.
Sorry, usually I'm loud. So this is Hero Auditorium with the director, who's Tony Howell. So as the agenda states, we are going to request acceptance of the 2026 staff grant. And with these dollars, it will allow for us to work with Prepare, which is a subsidiary or has been owned by the company Axon. We have been looking at Prepare along with the corporate platforms before Axon had even purchased them, but it will allow for our dispensers to use this platform, the software platform, that will assist us in call taking for various reasons. So it will reside next to our call take screen, and it will interpret other languages in real time. It will help us decipher exactly what a caller in traumatic stress is trying to say to us in the instances that we can't understand what they're saying to us because they're coming from us. So it will assist us in distinctly understanding exactly what they're trying to say, decrease the amount of time that it takes. In addition to that, it will allow us to, if we're not, for instance, if we're not hearing from a squad or one of our first responders on the other side of the radio, any of the law enforcement agencies wouldn't apply to the rescue and fire agency at this point because they don't utilize the Axon product. But because it is an Axon product, if we're not hearing from an officer who's out on a traffic stop or has just approached a domestic abuse type call or any call for that matter that they're in harm's way, they're not answering our radio for some reason, this will allow for us to click on a link and real time go straight to their body cam video to see if they are struggling with somebody or if there is a problem where we need to get additional spots. So that's just a high level overview of things that this product will help us do. In addition to that, quality assurance, equally important, it will give us real time automated quality assurance on the call. Like as soon as the call is complete, the supervisor can watch those things as it's being recorded and checked. That will allow for us to get more real time feedback and constructive criticism to our staff. So through their customers.
Supervisor, thank you, Mr. Chair. We received a grant from this same department that's one of them. Yeah, different. And I don't remember, I don't think I asked, what's the military function of this, or where does the military come into it? Is this just the title of the department that somebody gave it?
Yeah, the DME is just the entity that oversees it at the state.
So the military has no,
No,
nothing to do with it.
no, it's simply the entity at the state level that oversees these. These that go into the ISS. They're all under the UN. And I did fail to mention, that luckily there is, on Monday, there was an announcement. It's going to be 70% grant application that's been open. So I immediately reached out to Texas. We working on, writing the grant for 2027. There's obviously no presentation.
And I can add to your question to the resident, looking at their website, the Wisconsin Department of Military Affairs oversees the Wisconsin National Guard, Emergency Management, and Office of Emergency Situations.
So this department does have something to do with the military. Since National Guard.
Yeah, one of the divisions that is underneath that office is the Wisconsin National Guard. But the granting agency for this is the Office of Emergency, which is a division of this department.
So does the military have access to our systems then? Because of that?
No, from the DMA standpoint, it is literally just the overseeing the programs. Like when I mentioned the OEC, the Office of Emergency to that state level is under the DMA. And that was a change, I don't remember how many years ago.
Thank you. Supervisor Spencer.
Thank you. So I am always cautious about things like taxonomy and software and such as that. Cautious about privacy issues, and I'm cautious about potential abuse on the other end. So my question is, what data does it collect on the call? And then you're deciding that you should collect what?
I am not super good on the technical side of it. However, it is a secure cloud that is. Many of our platforms are housed in a secure cloud, which means handle a lot of personal identity on business. So like, for instance, our home that's also through secure cloud networks. So it would be similar to that.
And that's disconnected from any cloud, for instance, like a sheriff's department. Because you come across a lot of stuff. A lot of things are available when someone's in distress on the phone and they might just, I'm trying to be cautious. I want to support this,
Yep.
but I'm trying to be cautious.
So I would just add to that for you, that it is information that we already handle now. This is just an additional tool, an additional software. We use many software platforms, and this is an additional software tool that would be able for us to use to be able to more efficiently, and most importantly, accurately, relay these calls to the responders as quickly as possible. Kenosha has also moved forward with this the 2026 grant for this new product. We did speak with the Joint Services Director earlier today. He is also looking at the same thing we are, as far as looking on the road at the 2027 grant. We are currently ahead in the process. Hero and I were recently at dispatch conference in the locally, and we had a demo and we just monitoring calls. People were showing us in real time some of the calls that they were taking and how he would automatically sort of a transcription, of where it automatically decided.
And I understand Exxon is a huge network that is endlessly going, which is part of the concern. Because, and the other concern is that AI can make mistakes, and so interpretations can maybe not always be, might be better than not interpreting and having that struggle of time lapse, but it can also make mistakes. So how's that dealt with?
And to that, I would say, so do our team now, right? There is a very much a human component to what we do. So I'll just give you an example, or a couple of examples. So, on a daily basis, we have callers that are extremely hard to understand for a whole host of reasons, whether it's just the way they talk, whether they're highly intoxicated, whether they're under some sort of influence, or whether it's just from the amount of stress that they're truly under in the time of this call. There are times where I'm taking that call and I have to say zero, and you try to click into my call and understand what you're saying. That creates an additional delay, and especially if Zero's on another call. He can't just drop what he's doing and click into my call to try to help me process that. This is giving us that immediate assistance to try to help decipher. It will not change, at least immediately, it will not change what our policies are. Our policies still state that we need to verify the location, we need to verify the jurisdiction. We have all of these policies that make sure that we are getting this information into the system correctly. And that wouldn't change. This would just allow us to be able to verify this location. You can put there in the events that are struggling, which does happen multiple times a day. And it happens the same way with sometimes the responders on the radios. They're only able to get up for 2 seconds to tell us something that they need to tell us right now. And that is all they can get out of their radio while they're actively struggling with somebody. Us, if we missed what they said, we're playing back that recording to be like, what did they say? Did anyone else hear what they said? And that all creates an additional delay to, in the meantime, we're trying to get squads going to get to them as quickly as possible, no matter what the jurisdiction is supposed to be. But this will allow for us to rely on this tool as well to help get us the information that we so desperately need. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, my only other question right now is like, is there any, in all of these groups of, community that are using Axon already, do they, like, is there a number that, or is there data on mistake rates or anything like that? I get what you're saying, that compared to human ability to translate something.
I don't know the answer to that, but I would be happy to reach out to Thank you.
President Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, thank you for always being aware of these types of grants, with our local taxes. We did answer somewhat a question I was going to ask about what happens if you don't get this next year. Let's say it's not likely you're in past practice, but let's say you don't get it next year. Do you feel strongly enough about it that you would want to include it in your budget anyway?
So I thought about how to respond to that, because obviously there's going to be a huge component to this. When we find ourselves on a very fine line of wanting to be respectful and responsible with the dollars here for City County, as well as tapping into these things that can be super helpful in getting the right help to the caller as quickly and as efficiently and accurately as possible. So I can't say for sure because we've never used it before. Talking to others that are on either this platform or similar other ones that we have looked at as far as demonstrations, we've gone to Waukesha County, they're using something similar. It's not the same platform, it's something similar. They're very happy with it. One thing that I did forget to mention that it also does is it helps triage calls before it actually takes the time of our staff. So if someone starts calling in, right, these are going to happen in 2 days. Someone starts calling in, lots of people start calling in, wondering when the fireworks in this community, or that community, and what time the parade is, and they're not, they call us constantly for those things. This would help triage that before it ever reaches to ring to us. There would be settings set in the system that interfaces with our phone system that would then text them a link to the area fireworks. And that is something that Kenosha was specifically test driving with their platform this week leading up to 4th of July, was helping triage those fireworks calls. So that is another thing that will be a huge tool in our center. almost fully staffed, which is a help. But, you know, then we have, you know, medical leaves and vacations and tons of vacations, especially throughout the summer. So, this is another tool to help alleviate some of the back to back to back to back calls when you're working in this.
Thank you. Supervisor Shakur.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick question. If you can tell me the Wisconsin Department of Military Affairs and the Office of Emergency Communications, who do they report to? Is it federal government?
Well, I believe it's government even pretty certain that that's what they report to is the governor's office. I can double check with the gal that we talk to on a regular basis through the OEC and let them know.
Sure, that's fine. Appreciate that. You always like to know who's totally in charge of it, how it goes down, whatever the direction.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Jackie, just a couple of questions I got. How many languages will this decipher?
What I meant to bring that with, it was over 200. I don't remember exactly what the number was.
And how many bilingual people we have in the law enforcement center now as far as taking calls? Yes, how many languages we cover now with the staff we have? Just
two clearly. Mhm.
You know,
Absolutely.
not that, you know,
So we do currently,
communication.
yeah, sorry.
No, just one of the things.
So one thing before I forget is we do have a language service that we put in, so we would be able to not use that. It's would be a savings of roughly $3,600 a year. I think it's not, but $3,600.
And I was looking at cost savings standpoint, I was looking at it as hours. Never know who's going to be on the line.
Yep.
And we know we always need to be there when somebody calls.
Yes. Yep. I mean, recently we had callers on Russian, Mandarin, and
What's the Jenny, you have a question?
Yeah, I was wondering, when you said before that when they called, like their phone and asked about like the times of the fireworks, it would send them like an automated link, to take that time. Is it like I guess like, are actual humans like answering the phone still like at the beginning of the call, or are they having to like type a number, for like what service they want?
yeah, so that's a great question. It would be the AI that's answering that initial intake call, and then as soon as they say that they're looking for fireworks, that's when it will trigger that they're going to send them information for the.
Oh, and then is like the AI, is that the way it is now? Not like referring them, but if someone calls in an emergency right now, is it AI or is it a person?
Yeah, it's always an actual person. Yeah.
Supervisor Thunder.
I love the triage idea. Is it always an actual person after this as well that initially picks up? Or is it this that?
It's my understanding, so we've only had a few brief demos with them. I haven't seen it, like, you know, obviously it's in our center, so we haven't seen it in action in our center. But it is my understanding that some of these would be guidelines that would be similar to what Charlotte County is a very realistic sounding person that's going to call her name Ava. You'll call her a couple of times and it does sound. And so those would just be used on the non-emergency ones.
So on an emergency line, when we get a human being answering the call,
Yes.
and if the triage is needed, an AI jumps in and says, here's a text, and saving your person time to go on to another call.
The AI triage would only be used on non-emergency lines. 911 lines would always be answered by the live dispatcher.
Thank you.
And the assisted call taking would reside in a screen alongside of our phone screens. That's what gives us the translation and the transcription that allows us as humans to now process that call. We should be.
So it can speak back to the people, because we can, right, in different languages. It will converse.
What's the committee's pleasure?
Chairman, I would send this to the county board for first reading.
So we have a motion seconded to send this request to the county board for the $165,000. Any further discussion? Right, no further discussion, I'll call the question, youth and governance, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Committee, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. All right, letter B is the sheriff's office authorizing and remaining free funds to Lake Michigan Water Response Vessel Capital Project and transfer of $500,000 within the capital 2026 budget. Action requested for first reading June 23rd. Captain Evans, welcome. You may.
I can start this.
Absolutely.
I will defer to the captain, but I wanted to just give an overview to have not brought an item of support, but we also don't do a lot of capital savings approach. So you'll recall that in the 2023 budget, the county board approved $500,000 for the first phase of 3 of Lake Michigan Water Response Vehicle for the sheriff's office. And then as we were bringing the budget to the county board, we received a federal grant for $412,000. So we knew that we weren't going to need to do one of the phases. So right now they have authorization of $912,000 for this vessel. We did go out for an RFP, and I know that Supervisor Witch asked for an update on how all that was going this year. We've negotiated with the vendor. We had 4 bidders, had a pretty in-depth evaluation of them. One of them was not qualified at all. Any of the qualifications that we did, so they were eliminated. Landed on one of the vendors with a bid of just over $1.2 million. So we have been negotiating on the contract, sent the contract to Corporation Council for review, and it said you don't have authority for the second phase of the vote. So we cannot sign a contract to obligate the county without additional funding for it. However, we don't need a bond for it. We don't actually need to fund that money because this is a custom build, won't be done until next year. So we're asking for authority now to be able to sign the contract to get that boat being built. But we would not actually fund the money until we do it, which would be probably the summer. So then I will figure out with the captain can speak about the actual bids themselves, specs that went into the RFP, and kind of the timeline of that was.
Can I ask a question first? Sure. 1.3 is going to be the total after the 3 years?
1.3 is the total, and we'll receive the vessel at the end of 7.
So that's the total.
The
We
total,
got you got about $900,000 right now.
yes,
So there's additional $400,000 out there in somewhere.
that's what we're requesting from the board.
Okay. So that would go into 2027 budget?
It would go into 2026 so that we can sign the contract. We'll have the total authority that we need right now. But we won't add the cash, the debt financing for it until 2026. So it'd be included in the resolution, the parameters resolution for the 2027 bond project, so it'll be included in that. And I understand how it's different than we've always done before, and learned our mistake here.
So we have to come up with another $400,000 between now and 2027.
Nope, we're asking for that tonight.
Where's that coming from?
New money. So we're not actually spending it. We're encumbering it. We're signing a contract saying that by the end of 2027, we're going to pay out $1.3 million. But we don't actually need that cash on hand.
I understand, but where's the $400,000 that comes balance payment in 2027 or whatever.
Would we bond for it in 2027?
I do have other questions, but I did have the boats, vessels sent to me, so I knew what they were looking at. But I will withhold that question until he's done with his presentation. Thank you.
Given the fact that
It's a whole.
this camera is still up. Yeah, so that's great to stare up there and see that. Anyways, so given the fact that this is just a reauthorization, we went through all of this last year. I didn't prepare a big presentation for you guys. I know sometimes I do a lot, try to make sure you have every difficult training. When I put the budget together, let's go back all the way to 2020. Where is when I started working on this? Looking at what is it to be a water response vessel? In 2024 was when we funded the engines. You guys remember back, we put 3 new engines into the second. Third set of engines, second time we replaced them. That's in our 1972 41-foot Anton. It's been a good boat for us. It's slow, but it gets through just about everything. So it's positioned us well in the response category for people that are looking at how we respond to their very large, very expensive vessels that they store in our marina. At that time, started looking at it, and my initial thoughts were, we're never going to get a new boat because they're incredibly expensive. I think I've shown over the years of working with you guys, I'm really cheap. I want to make sure that we're not wasting money. I started looking through, what exactly do we need? It's 460 square miles of water out there. It's a lot of water. It's we have responsibility for. We had an incident in 24 where I had to call Jerry Hipper and tell him to head 22 miles out. We had a distress beacon in the shipping lanes. Everybody that rides the shipping lanes out there, which is a huge commerce area for our state, all of the workers that are out there wear distress beacons that are water activated. If you go into the water, that goes off and sends a GPS. That goes both to our dispatch, also goes to the Coast Guard, notify all the water patrols to get out and try to rescue that person. 22 miles out of March. The 1971, 41-foot. It's got massive engine issues. No other water response vessels are involved. That's a big pucker factor for a guy calling someone to say, hey, take you and 2 college kids out. Go see if you can rescue some guy that's trying to fight. That really makes you think, right? Fast forward a year, it's Sunday evening, June, beautiful night, and we have a boat party. We're told that it's a mile offshore, right outside of our boat. There's 5 kids in water. When I get there, there's a leisure boat, very similar to the boat I am. That's parked at the marina. See at the public lunch. It's parked there, it's covered in blood. It's all. There's people everywhere looking for it to be had our boat. We don't know. We don't know who. We had people flee from the boats. We have a beautiful, beautiful shore. We have a huge gem there in our life. That is a massive economical driver for us. Looking at the marina, I've been told this, I wasn't sure, so that researching. We have the second deepest marina in the country. I'm told that, I always believe everything I'm told. Just confirmed it. We have the second deepest marina. That's driving massive growth for our marina. Talked to Carrie several times this year about stuff going on in the marina. She's oversold. We have larger vessels coming in than ever before. One of the big things that our boat does in rough weather is people go out with their friends and family, go out for a cruise. They decide to go out deep into the lake so they can enjoy the beautiful scenes and sights, and have some time away from everybody else, and then add another boat like it does in this area, right? And our boat multiple times has gone out to have to tiptoe in boats that either failed to restart, mechanical issues, have whatever issues, and we're having to help bring those boats back in. We've done that because we have a large vessel. So when I was working on this project, that was part of it. The other issues we have is we have drownings that happen in Lake Michigan. I saw that in 2020. We had 5 drownings within like 2 weeks right off of North Beach. It's right now over 2 feet down over the edge. It was 18 inches wide. Jerry Hipper sent me all the specs for our boat. 18 inches over, 2 feet down to get to the water. Imagine trying to pull somebody in. Imagine if they can't help you. Imagine if you're an 18-year-old college kid having a 16-year-old child, having to try to pull them in the boat, get them out so you can try to save their life. It's incredible. So when we spec'd out this vessel, what do we need? What do we want? We wanted to make sure that we could do all of it. And then, like everything else, I don't want to do this again. To be completely honest, I don't want to see this done again. I don't want to see us having to replace this boat. So I wanted to look at what are we going to get the best longevity out of? How do we build for the future? How do we ensure that we have technological advancements that can be built in so that if things change, when things change, as things change, this can modify along with it? And how do we do this at the best cost benefit ratio, right? So that's kind of how I approached the whole project. Came up with the 1.4 million with our budget. It was under the 1.5. Come in below that yet again. This vessel prioritizes water access. Prioritizes ease of access around the deck. It gives us a place that we can safely segregate. As you can imagine, in like a boat crash type incident, or some of the vessels and distresses we've had overboard, if we bring somebody on the vessel that is hysterical, we need to be able to segregate them from the operations. This allows us to do that. It allows us to also ensure operator safety. It gives us a walk around deck that gives us high railings so that we can keep operators within the deck, but yet still prioritizing that rear access. A lot of dedicated storage. It upgrades our technology, upgrades our navigation, upgrades we have a front deck that's built into this vessel, as you've seen, allows us to build position the UAVs. That we've really kind of pushed those into our water response. We can operate UAVs from the deck of the vessel and integrate that with the dive. I think this positions us very well moving into the future. One of the things I'll throw in there, if anybody do a lot of recreational vehicles, I was very torn on the inboard, outboard, what type of motor. Looking at the amount of effort that we've been putting into repowering of boat one, we have leaned towards the outboard motors. The winterization of them is far superior. By the way, it's just way easier, way more efficient, way more effective, has a lot less chance of breaking. They are a lot easier to repower. If we run into a problem, we can simply unbolt the motor, take it off the back. So in our 10-year capital plan, as we get into discussions, you're going to end up seeing some stuff out at the 10-year mark where we empower hopefully longer than that. Can you answer any questions or attempt to answer any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Quick question. We only have one. Oh, you want me to vote? There's only one vessel down for Lake Michigan, correct?
There are two.
Okay.
So we do have boat two. I'll be honest, boat two is about as old. It's a sea art. If you've never been down there to see it, I'd encourage you to go take a look. And when you look at it, just ask the operators if you can step on it. Once you step on it, you'll know why I say you want to replace that one at some point. There's going to come a point where that one is not effective. In looking at our overall risk matrix, just this year, I had to put out new guidance for our team. All of our teams that respond to water, we have nearshore and offshore vessels. There has to be. There's vessels that can operate within a mile of shore. There's vessels that can operate outside that mile of shore. This vessel that we're speccing out to build on this contract is an all-around vessel. Will operate in all conditions. They can operate in the offshore. What I want to do in future builds would be look at prioritizing a nearshore vessel that can also lean into Lake Michigan, to the river, and to the North Beach spots. There are a couple of really great vendors out there that know something that the best way I can describe it is like a mom and you. They have a gate that drops down the front, it's watertight. It would allow us to pull right up onto the beach. The problem is those vessels don't handle the large water, bad weather, the things that we needed to do with all around operations that we encountered in our 10-month boating season that we end up having to staff.
Okay. What, when this incorporated, you heard of it, right? What have they done to your boats, the boats out here?
I don't know.
Okay, well, let's put it this way, I've been out there almost years, and I know that there's a couple of cases where we did something to the engine or. You know.
That's outside of my knowledge.
Okay. Well, I'm just wondering how often do they have to do it with?
It's maybe something with, so I know that Twin Disc makes some of the clutching materials that go with this other boots. I know they didn't have any division. What they've done with it, it just may be beyond what I've experienced with us having 3 sets of things. I would imagine there's been a lot of things that have been done. I know that Twin Disc is a great partner.
Yeah.
Been alongside the sheriff's office for events. I would not be surprised if like.
Yeah, well, I was here almost 50 years, and I know that things were brought over there and they did work. So, okay, I'll talk to you a little offline.
This is a wish. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you send me the link?
Like, oh, to the one that we're.
Yeah, and I've seen before. Originally.
Yep.
And for those of you that aren't aware, a lot of those boats, vessels, some of them also make military craft. And some of these vessels were patterned after the military. Is that one of the manufacturers that you saw?
Well, so I've done a lot of research. All of the vendors that we have talked, every vendor that I've seen makes some form of a military vessel because, and I was shocked to find this out, their biggest selling point is making targets. Targets. I would never have thought of that, but it makes sense. They make boats to be shot at.
So they're
All of the vendors make some form of a vessel for the Navy.
so they're drones.
They make all kinds of stuff. They do. There are drone targets I've seen, but what they do, I don't know. I haven't delved into what their military features are. There are a couple vendors that did not bid on this that make everything up to battleships. That's not what we're looking at.
And we're not putting it yet.
Absolutely. The boat that's on the screen is.
That's a
the
joke.
boat the boat that's on the screen is the boat that we're looking at. One of the things that you'll see that's unique on here, and that I wanted to get into this project, given the fact that we put such a large investment into the harbor. I had a conversation with Racine Fire Department. We have fires in the region. Maybe 3 years ago. You can imagine that's a massive insurance claim. Also, as a huge liability call to their vessels needed. Getting water out to boats seems like it should be an easy proposition. But currently it means dragging hoses from a truck, and that's a long drag, a long haul. So on this vessel, you'll see there's more than one fire monitor, is what they call it. There's 2 in the rear, 1 in the front. And there's a fire pump built, with the plan being that we would come to shore, we would pick up the fire plant, and they would operate it, we would drive it out. Looking for that partnership, but strategically giving us the ability to actually be able to get the cool stuff on the hot stuff.
Which leads me to the last question, but maybe who's crewing this and what's the staffing?
So the sheriff's office crews it. We have 3 people that are assigned to water control, and we hire every year 2 part-time deckhands.
Is that 1 per shift?
So it's normally 2 at a time. We have 1 per shift. We work a modified first and second shift throughout the summer, just about 7 days.
So you get one person piloting.
About 1 person piloting, two college kids that work at our tech.
And are these temporaries?
They're summer employees. I can tell you, we've hired a lot of them as they go on into their futures, but they're just summer help.
But I've been trained as
They are.
lifeguards.
They're not lifeguards, they're trained at that. But are they trained in,
So who moves in the water? They have to go in the water.
that would be the dive team if they have. So if you look at the back of this boat, you can see it on our left side looking at it, you can see there's a hoist. There's gonna be a stilts basket. When it is a recovery only, we don't put anybody in the water. So if we're going out for a drowning, we're not going in to get them. In 2022, when former County Exec Belgrave authorized the spending on North Beach Water Safety Response Initiative, we purchased 2 jet skis in that. With those, we also purchased the sleds. So, there's mobile sleds that come behind them. Our dive team, stores in the back of their squad, or many of you have been out in their squads, you see the incredible amount of gear that we carry with us. Our divers store in the back of their squad their diving. I have seen, we talked about when we had kids get thrown off the boat crashed. That night, that I was just talking to prior to this meeting, was out on the jet ski team flying down from the area he was working, went down to the dock box, threw on his dry suit, jumped on the jet ski, went out and started looking for. So there's a multi-layered response. In that water response initiative, we purchased some other things, like Emily's, which are basically like a drone. It's a buoy drone. The lifeguards operate, they can drive it out to anybody that's in distress in the water.
How do you know, if the vessel's out in the lake and he's 20 miles offshore and you get a dive team, how do you get them out there?
So right now it's a coordinated response. So if we have the boat going, then we also, I have a handful of phone numbers that call immediately. I start working through Coast Guard, but Coast Guard has changed their operation tempo drastically in this area. They're still a good resource, but Melsha's basically shut down, staffed I think 1 day a week, if that. And they really staff Michigan, Chicago, and Milwaukee. The night of that boat crash, I was calling for every resource I could get, and Coast Guard was busy in Milwaukee with a suicide off Long Ridge, and Chicago had a boat crash. So we were told, sorry, no Coast Guard. So it's a trip, which is why in a few years, came back to you saying that I want to go.
So there's no way to get the dive team if we need it out into that lake.
Without bringing the boat back. Without bringing the boat back, I have to bring the boat back.
And what's the lead time to go 22?
So I think that there's another question in there that you might be missing. The boat going out into the lake 22 miles is looking for surface rescue. Once we're done with surface rescue, divers for recovery 22 miles out, we're talking about 400 people. We don't have divers certified to go that deep. Actually, no divers certified that deep.
So what's the maximum that'll go?
For that,
How far out can the dive team go?
the dive team would go for recovery. So if I was to say that I have a plane crash, we're in the plane path of this, right? So if I have a plane crash with 25 people in the water, I'm going to send boat one immediately. I'm going to start looking for divers because they're also rescue swimmers. And I'm going to start looking for alternate boats, whether that be DNR, who runs downsies. They run open deck downsies with no cabin, like what you're seeing here, and they're a little bit faster. You look for them to transport them out, and also partner with the ocean, which partner with them to rescue fast. We can start looking for alternate methods, but ultimately our initial response, which should be why we want to get there and start to talk about it. There's no easy solution.
You brought up something that I wasn't like that in the day. So if you've got 2 college students out there, you have 1 officer, whose performance do you have?
Officer have to drive.
But they don't do that. They're in the. Okay. Thanks.
Let me get that answer though. You said a lifeguard certification?
Yeah.
Mr. Spencer?
Thank you. This is all very interesting. So who's designing this boat this vessel with the custom requests that are being made and how is that being paid for? Is that in this number?
So when we put out a request for proposal and anything that we're doing, whether it's putting a roof on a building or a bus, we have to provide specifications for the bid. So Captain Evans and his team very thoughtfully and through a lot of research said we want this kind of thing and this. That was included in our RFP that went nationwide. And we were seeing bids from across the country. This one is Oregon, if I remember right. A lot on the West Coast, we got a lot of bids from there. So it is none of that custom things will be an additional cost. It's included in the price.
Thank you. My other question is, I mean, we have a lot of coastal cities and coastal marinas and such. Are we inventing something, or is like this concept go, like, notion, you know, hey, that's really good. Or is it looking backwards? I don't know if I'm making sense. This is gonna be a very useful tool. Do other communities have this type of vessel already?
Other than, so, yes, there's, that's what like this. Other places,
So the design
a
is,
little different design, this is not like a completely custom design, this is a modified design that this company had.
fit our coastal, can you send us this? Okay, and then I understand what you're requesting. Yes, it makes sense to me to support that.
Yeah, there was one other question. It's something that, I was just gonna think about here, if we don't get this secure, get this additional money situated right away, then I think there's us to sign that contract.
They also have concerns about the operation.
Chairman, I would move to send this to the county board for first reading June 23rd. The motion second to send this to county board for first and second reading. The first, I'm sorry, first reading. For June 23rd. Any further discussion? If not, we'll call the question. Meeting governors, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Committee, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. All right, item number 7 is from Finance Department Director Zimmer in regards to Racine County claims against budget account report, which is basically going to the check report. Supervisor Miller has requested us to just kind of earmark some of the checks as we receive them as numbered, look at them, and we can kind of just touch base on a couple of the recent ones tonight. Supervisor Miller, you want to chime in on this? Yes, first of all, turn over to Director Zimmer.
Okay, so in the past, quite a while ago, it was a responsibility of the committee to approve the bills as a committee on a regular basis. The ordinance was changed and the committee now receives them individually for any questions or comments. I thought it would enhance our oversight responsibility, or just from time to time, we would have a random selection of bills that need to be paid. I would say that my experience of checking on individual items in the past, we have an excellent system for oversight and accountability. But this, I think this system will help us in that oversight and also give us kind of a flavor of where all the tax money goes.
Yeah, so let me, I would like to just read the ordinance as it's stated, so you can understand. Ordinance around this section 7.146, approval of tentative budgeted account. It says, following the adoption of the budget, any claim against any account, regardless of the source of funds, shall first be sent to the finance director or receipt for approval and to the finance and human resources committee prior to the being made. So our current process for accounts payable is courthouse, we process accounts payable for those departments who are within the courthouse. Public Works processes their own, and Human Services processes their own within our financial system. That includes 2 approvals, one from the department or the manager, and then one from a finance representative. So it's either our accounting manager or myself I'm helping to cover, or the accounting manager here at Public Works, and the fiscal manager at Human Services. Everything gets entered into our financial system to create those check reports that are sent to this committee weekly. And then we prepare a title sheet to say, we expect the check run to be $1 million, send it to the treasurers, they compare the two, and then they print the checks. That is a separation of duties. We don't have the ability to print the checks, and we also can approve our own items. So we're always having that internal control here. So when Supervisor Miller asked for us to give a random sampling and stuff, we kind of thoughtfully looked at what would be helpful for the committee. We got the second meeting of every month, I'll present 5 random checks. And we did try and do 1 Public Works, 1 Human Services, 1 Sheriff, those being the larger departments, and then 2 from we do process 20,000 payments or checks a year and $250 million expense budget, so there was quite a bit in there. I didn't want to show you like a $3 payment. So I'm trying to, give you something that's a useful thing for you to review. So I'm going to be presenting this to everyone. I'll show on the screen, on the memo, 5 items, and then pull the scan image. For record retention, every item has a scan image put into our system that's doctors look at, so we always have a scan item for submit. However, I may redact things. For instance, I redacted the VIN number and the license number. If you have any questions, you'll hear from our department lead, Rebecca, so I'll just set it out, but we have somebody from the finance department. If you have questions, let us know. We can get those answers to. Otherwise, don't. We're going to send those checks out and get to know about it.
Questions or comments?
Supervisor Miller? Well, I just want to thank Gwen, the explanation she just gave, but also the memo she wrote, because I thought that made it very clear what was going on.
Yes, because when you read through the item number 7 on the agenda, it sounds different than just basically a check. All right, moving on to number 8, communications and report referral from the county board meeting.
Receive and file.
Like,
Got a motion and seconded to receive and file. Any further discussion? If not, we'll call the question on the receiving file, youth and governance. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Committee, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Receive and file.
Chairman, may I ask, would you like item number 7 to be forwarded to the full board?
Yes, thank you. Item number 9 is a staff report. I don't think there's anything new that we have that has come up since the agenda has been put out. So to the Veterans Committee.
No, I would like to mention though, that the county executive asked in particular kind of leadership that the departments present on July 22nd, finance and administrative meeting, kind of a status update of where they're at. 7 budget. You'll recall that there were some resolutions that were being presented around budget last year, January, March, financial kind of resolutions. And one of them included if the department was going to exceed their budget by a certain percentage, then they should come first. While that resolution didn't actually get adopted by the board, we're still sort of following that guidance. So on the July 22nd meeting, we'll have an agenda update to the 2027 budget preparation. maybe some departments here who expect, to increase in their lab capacity. We can kind of present what's going on to think about it and ask questions. Hopefully prepare for that ministers. I do think that there's a possibility that the next night capital items might be going to the public works parts. Starting out with the chairman.
So we're talking about July 22nd, and possibly. Stay tuned for more information on that. All right, the next Finance and Human Resources Committee meeting will be on July 8th, 5 o'clock. One note about future meetings, it's been brought to my attention that the August 19th Finance meeting also will be landing on the same night as the county brewery. So we need to look at if there's things that are on the agenda that are time sensitive, we may have to make an adjustment on the schedule if possible, so that staff and supervisors and employees can get a chance to go there for that. So stay tuned about that. There may be some changes on that if needed. If there's no other information or concerns from the betterment of this committee, a motion to adjourn. So moved. And seconded. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Yes.